Go live. Connect.
Talking about the danger zone, NLP danger zone.
Danger zone.
I mean, you don't have to focus on the tunnel that I have in my TV behind me if you don't want to.
Yeah, really. Don't have to. Actually, I'd prefer you not to, actually. And you don't have the right to look there, so don't.
There was something funny recently. Like I was on Facebook, and Mike Mindell has a commercial up saying, you don't have to watch the watch or something like that. And then he talked about how hypnotists are known for having a watch to put you into hypnosis. And then I went through the comments and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then there was one guy and he said something like, yeah, not everybody needs to use a watch. But the way he had said it, it was like he was kind of new to hypnosis, the way I read it anyway. So I went ahead and commented, replied to that comment, and I was like, well, yeah, people used to use a watch as a way to, get people to do hyper focus, but it can be anything that, you tell them to focus on. It can be your finger or whatever. And I thought I was being really educational with what I was saying.
And did you get a comeback?
He said, duh. And I wanted to reply, I had the same thoughts from reading your comment.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
it sounded like you needed the educational level, the way he wrote
Yeah.
it in.
Uh, Today we're doing also talking about before this perception, basically how are you going to take what you see, and it also we didn't go into this, but the way we react to things are pretty much our map of the world, how we're going to react. But we were getting into, well, we're getting into advertisement today, or what persuades you.
Well, basically NLP, and when does it become, I guess we'll say toxic. When does it become toxic, and when is it not manipulative? Or I guess manipulation always happens. It's more like when are you taking advantage of somebody, if you're taking advantage of somebody, and how does that play out? So, the thing I was getting into was, yeah, and it's another thing you were saying as well. If you take offense to what anybody says, then maybe you want to go heal, right? Like someone's gonna say, "Oh, duh," to me. I could have came back and be like, "Listen here, you MFer," you know. But what would be the point of that? And then I find myself a lot of times as you learn sleight of mouth and as you learn language patterns, that it's just not worth it to get in it with anybody. It's like better to walk away, right? Or just go do something that makes more sense than it is to sit there and argue with somebody. Okay, so what if this, like you know all these language patterns and you can pinpoint somebody and pin them up into a corner and there's nothing that they can do. It's not like they're gonna, bow down and say they lost. No, they're just gonna be mad at you. And why would you even want to consider, doing that? It was like with great power comes with great responsibility. So if you were gonna, pin somebody to the ground, you'd want to make sure that you really wanted to do that. And then you could win that battle. That don't mean the war is over. What's gonna happen down the line, right? Like, and do you really want that? Wouldn't it be better just to go out and help people than it would be to, go around taking advantage of people? Or, oh, telling them how dumb they are? Like, just go find smarter people. Maybe you're the dummy for hanging out with dumb people. I don't know. Again, when you learn sleight of mouth, you have like 16 different ways to look at something. And today we were talking a little bit about uh what does it say here? It says NLP danger zone when persuasion becomes mind control. Ooh. And it wants Starpo to open up with a story of a bait and switch.
Bait and switch. Uh, it's basically I was going. I know a guy who worked for another guy who pretty much said he had to do this, this, and this, and this, and this, and this, or he wouldn't be able to make it in his life. And was that true? I don't know. But at the time, the person believed it until he didn't. So when we bait somebody, we say, when anybody baits you, you say, you need to have this. You must listen to these words I'm saying. These, you have to do this. You should do this. You ought to do this. And when people are using that kind of language, on you and you're believing it and you're not catching it, it goes into your unconscious. It just slips by and says, "Oh, I must, I should, I ought to." But these are key words you want to be listening to anywhere. You ought to do this. If you love her, you'll buy her a Jared diamond. That persuasion that goes in your head. Well, what if I don't get her a diamond? I don't love her. What does that mean? So all
You
day
went to
long,
Jared's.
everywhere we go, we're persuaded. I mean, everything persuades us. Even our Alexa. It says, "Do you want to listen to this?" It listens to you, and then it gives you it feedback and tries to sell you stuff. So we're being sold all day long. And a thing in happiness, is it really your? You got to find it. Is it really what you want, or is it what somebody else is putting on you? And like Coca-Cola and a smile. See, we're hit upon these things all day long. So it's somebody trying to persuade you. So we're going there. And the other thing is, with great skills comes great power, which comes do we should where we bring in ethics. Even if we can sell something to you and go past your critical factor and get you to persuade on something, should you? The point is, we want to have ethical, that win-win situations. And when you come to somebody like us, we're trying to figure out what you want, not what we want. And the people who do the other are manipulators, and
Well,
a lot of times narcissists. Go ahead.
no, well, yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to cut you off there. There was just one thing I wanted to bring up before it escaped me. So if somebody is taking advantage of somebody else, in your opinion, and then you go and explain to the person who was taken advantage of, and they honestly believe, and this is a narcissistic characteristic, is that, well, if it wasn't right, then they wouldn't have allowed me to get away with it, right? So are they really like in their mind, they don't feel they're taking advantage of anybody rather than teaching them a lesson. Or well, maybe because I was able to get whatever I got, that was how it was supposed to be. And then they go around and find other people that will bow down to them. And well, and then that's their map of the world because they're hanging out with, alphas will hang out with betas because they can control them. And then until you become sick of it, then you'll change your ways. And then even my situation, I would bring this information to the person that was not treating me right. And as soon as you start holding your boundaries, you become like the bad guy. So, but in their mind, they're like, oh, I'm just the greatest on the planet. People should just be giving me stuff and be grateful they're even in my presence. But they do use the language that Jeff was talking about. You need to, you ought to. The one that was the constant one for me was that, he'd put his arm around my shoulder and be like, I've been in this situation too. You should be so glad to be around me because I was able to work it out of here, and this is how I did it, and I'll show you how to do it." And then you'll be in debt for me forever. Or I'll just keep you running in loops because I don't want you to outgrow where I am, because if you outgrow where I am, then I can't control you. And that's, doesn't work out good for that person. But they just think like that. They don't think they're taking advantage of anybody. They're just walking through their way of the world. And that's very important to keep in mind, that not everybody has the same value structure, the way they see things. Here's something else to think about, right? Let's say there's a color pink in front of me. This pink behind me. You and I can both look at this color pink and see two different colors. And we don't even know for sure if we're even seeing the same color. Think about that for a second.
Well, I want to throw something in right there. Actually, everything's the same. With what he just said, the pink doesn't look the same pink. And no matter what, no one's the same. And the same with taste and hearing and sight. No one sees what you see. Nobody hears what you hear. Nobody tastes what you. They taste similar things and they have taste buds, but they don't taste the way you do. That's why when somebody eats something, they like something better. You might not even like the same foods you're around. Somebody say, "This is my favorite food." Oh, that sucks. But it's our map of the world, how we grew up, what we ate, all our things till now. This moment is where we're at, and so we focus on the world with that. So when you're going against anybody or not going against anybody, but that was a word I probably would take back. When you're communicating with somebody, you're using your map of the world, and it's subjective, you know. So, are they really doing? Ask yourself, are they really doing what you think they're doing? And they might not be, and they might be. But and one of the big things, like I said, listen to how people talk to you. If they say must, should, ought to, you know, or they have this thing like if you don't do this, you're not this. You know, they say, well, other people do this. So they're using persuasion by many different, they're manipulating, like most people would do this. And I'm sorry that you feel this way. And
Yeah. Yeah, what is that called? Social proof? The guy
yeah,
that I work
social
for would
proof.
be like, well, if this person and this person and this person will take this amount of money, come to my house, get my gear, then bring it back and do all this work for next to nothing, then why won't you do it? Because I ain't like everybody else, bro.
There you go. So you start doing that, you start understanding that you don't have to, that's the big have to, should, must. And when you, if for happiness, what we would change those words to, I want to, I get the opportunity to do, I don't have to go to work, I get to go to work. So we switch those around because the way when you look at things different, the things you look at change. So, what are you doing? And are people manipulating? I think this is where we started out,
Well,
basically.
basically, you cannot not manipulate. So even a non-response is manipulation. I mean, I know a lot of people may have a stigma with that word, so one cannot not communicate, but even communication is persuading somebody, manipulating somebody. So the way Milton Erickson explains it, if there's no way out of it, then you might as well be the best at it, so that you can, get the exact ideas, thoughts, and whatever else across that you can, and be able to understand what somebody else may be doing as well, and explain that to them as well. A lot of coaches that I've been with, they like to like, or in the hypnosis world, right? They won't explain the process like we do. They'll just do it. So I like to do the knowledge of it so that you understand consciously and subconsciously, what's going on. There was one, I think Richard Bandler was on stage and he was dealing with somebody who had some sort of fear or something. I can't remember what it was. And then he got real down to all the details of it. Now, why did he ask him all the details of it? So that he could get a really good, vision of what it was. And then he was like, well, can you make it worse? So he made it worse. That means you have control of it, right? So now can you take that one thing that you did and turn it black and white? And the guy was like, "Yeah, okay." And then I don't know. I think it was maybe a fear of spiders or something like that. Anyway, he took the experience, turned it black and white. Well, can you reverse it? So these are mind hacks. Like you have this one cycle going on in your mind. Let's say you're afraid of spiders. You had that. Like I had a bee incident, and then let's say you're just repeating that over and over and over again. But if he can get you to make it bigger, take it smaller, turn that experience in his mind black and white, even reverse it, and then you could take your hand and fly it away. And instantly on stage, this guy had a fear of whatever it was for 20 some odd years. And he walked off the stage without that fear with, well, I don't know, Bandler took him 5 minutes to do that. And I think it wouldn't have took him that long if he wasn't on stage making jokes. It was a show element to it. Maybe the jokes were needed too. So I don't know. But anyway, when you see hypnotists do things, they're just talking, right? I mean, Milton Erickson wouldn't call himself a hypnotist, even though he was the godfather of hypnosis, right? He was just him. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so just keep that in mind. So basically, persuasion, right? There's this post going around in the DJ community asking if bar owners are racist because they don't like um, rap music or whatever. That's what they're asking in the Facebook groups. And basically, realize this: if you're playing a certain type of music, you can manipulate somebody, right? If you're playing something that's very calm and relaxing, especially if you're a DJ at the end of the night, you're playing some R&B songs, and then people just start hooking up and leaving, right? On the flip side of that, if you start playing aggressive songs which hip hop is very popular. It's not, and then also if you were playing, hard rock songs for people that like that, bar owners want to stay in business. They don't want people coming in there getting too riled up, starting fights, tearing the place apart, and getting shut down. I mean, they sell liquor, like that's very easy to get rid of. So when it comes to NLP, hypnosis, and manipulation, or getting coercion, right, if that's a better word, you can even control people with music. So just keep that in mind as well. Um, Going down the list here. Also, yeah, what is it? It says you can demonstrate, well, the patterns, how they work on your phone. Now, there's 20,000 different ways you can talk about how your phone could be, selling you. So every time you scroll past an ad on your social media, that's your
A
phone telling.
real, a real.
Or yeah, reels, ads, your phone probably listening to you right now, and then you start talking about blow dryers, and then all of a sudden you go through your social media and you got freaking blow dryers everywhere. Like right now, the big thing is Mother's Day, right?
Well, the other thing is too, is if you notice, uh, the same with the phone is what you start focusing on, the phone starts focusing on it for you too. So, and the more it draws you in more and more and more, just like anything, reticulating activating system goes off, and you, whatever you're thinking about, positive, negative, whatever, you see more of it. So, so it gets a little, I guess there are algorithms, what it is, and then it that phone manipulates you. And also, if you're watching little reels and stuff, it gives you a dopamine hit. So it's not only it's drawing you in and just hitting you, hitting you, hitting you, hitting you, hitting you, and in that sense, you're going into a trance, and then you become more suggestible, and you go, I really do need that, or I should. So
Oh, what do you say to people that hypnosis isn't real?
sure. You know, that'd be like fighting a horse. You can lead something to. I always say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But you can give him salt and see what happens. You know, and really, you and I, we're not here to uh, persuade somebody to do things that's not good for them in any way. And
Yeah,
if
that's the
if it's
power of the
not a win,
universe.
yeah, that's what we're trying to really want to we want to say today. Basically, it's a win-win situation. If you get in a situation with anyone in front of you, and there's a few things I would like to say here. It's like when if I say it because Scott was, I think, at the first saying, if it wasn't before this, it was like he made a comment to somebody and they said, "Duh." You know, now the person who said "duh," it's on him because he's saying "duh," and how we react, it's about us. So we can accept that, oh, we're stupid, or we said something stupid, or we can just say, it's not even worth this is this isn't even worth my time, because it isn't most of the time. So you have to figure out where you're at in your life, because again, our map's going to make it how we will see it, but just understand what they say is on them and what you say is on you. And then and understanding, is somebody really manipulating you? Are you going to go do something because somebody told you you should? And a good thing to say, is this really true? I just say, is it to yourself? Say, is this really true? Is this the truth? Is it true? Is it really true? And if it's not, then you have more power to make the decision that's right for you. Just because somebody says you should, ought to, or must doesn't mean it's true. So, uh, and truly, the whole thing is you're manipulated all day long, and you don't even realize it when you're driving down the road. You don't even realize it, but there's signs everywhere saying something. Buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that, and it's going into your unconscious mind, even if you're not seeing it. Subliminal, and people are saying stuff all day long, and you're seeing little advertisements, and then it's like, didn't you see like celebrities wearing certain clothes, and then they're using perfume, And so they're telling you that this stuff is for the stars, and if you can get it, oh, it's only $200 for this cologne, but and they don't even use it probably unless that's in a commercial. Or if you a perfect thing is in when you watch movies. When you watch a movie on the screen or a television show and you see a Coca-Cola, okay? Or if you see some brand name of mustard or something you see with a brand name on it, they paid for that. That's an advertisement, even though you're not even thinking about it, that advertisement. And that happens all day long. And jingles are the same way, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, back in the olden day, ROLAIDS, Rolade spells relief. I mean,
You
there's
remember that forever.
yeah, and I don't like Rolaids. I don't even know if they make them anymore.
I went and bought appliances because there was a commercial here, and it was this Asian guy, and he'd be like, "Appliance Direct, I love appliances." But that commercial is like 15 years old. I needed a washer and dryer a couple months ago, and I went to Appliance Direct because I love that commercial.
Think of Geico,
Yeah.
Geico, a
15 minutes can
Geico,
save you
Geico.
50%
Yeah,
or more.
yeah.
Yeah, NLP, I mean, another thing people don't probably understand, NLP is just a framework for frameworks, right? So if somebody's getting success or if somebody wants to understand this, the only reason it's the NLP is mainly around language patterns and psychology is because the people they studied, that's what they did. They got success, Fitzpearls, Milton Erickson, and what was the other one? Fitzpearl. Anyway, there was three. One did Gestalt therapy, where you just sat in a chair and talked to an empty chair. If you were that one person and used multiple personalities just to get that off your chest. And then, of course, Milton Erickson was the godfather of language patterns. And basically, the reason NLP is around psychology, it's not like it's psychology in itself. It's the study of all psychology that works and put into a framework so you can teach it to somebody else. That's what they were doing. They went and studied these people that were getting all the success and then were able to write out or blueprint it so that they could, hey, look, this is what he's doing. Like we have names for it now. Like we could call it this, that, and the other thing. That's why it's around psychology. But yeah, anything that you want, if you wanted to cook the best spaghetti. You you could blueprint how the best spaghetti is made and then just make it yourself.
I do that
Something
all the
people don't do.
time. It's like you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, a lot of people want to go out there and just make something new. Like, why don't you just find somebody who's already done it and just do that? It'll be faster. I mean, like,
Well, there is a caveat to that. Is at one point, just because somebody else can do a certain thing doesn't mean you have the ability to do that. That's why sometimes it takes a team to do the same thing. So
yeah, that's what I'm finding out
I
too.
mean, basically, you've got a blueprint for how to run a company, and you do it successfully, and you're doing great. Uh, it's some and a lot of your blueprint is you could teach anyone. I mean, a lot of it. The other part is there's not going to be too many people as smart as you running that company. So a lot
Yeah,
of times,
everybody's gonna have their own
yeah, the
different strengths and
ability,
stuff and
yeah,
abilities.
I mean, so what we want you guys to do and ourselves too, find your strengths and weaknesses and work on your strengths. And you can work on your weaknesses too, doesn't hurt, but find out what you do the best and sometimes get the other people to do the things that you can. And not that you couldn't do them in 10 years, okay, but right now, what's the fastest way to where you want to go is sometimes the best way. And or you know it's up to you to decide that. But sometimes you can go a lot farther with just a little bit of information from somebody else, and you can get back on track. So, because, like we said, we like you in motion, even if you're going the wrong way. But at one point, when you're going the wrong way, you probably want to know that you're going the wrong way. So when you figure
But
that out,
you
you
weren't
can come
moving.
back. Yeah,
It's
but
like
if you're not
you got
moving,
there
you're not
faster
getting
because you were moving.
right. So basically, you know, start start somewhere, and even if you're going the wrong way, go get somebody to help you go the other way if you find yourself in that predicament. I and again, what I usually say too to everyone, you got to start somewhere, and that's where wheels in motion and ease. Just do a little bit, and it keeps you on getting more momentum. And even if you just for happiness, just one thing a day that made you happy. Find one thing a day and do that, and then you'll start your reticular activating system will come back up, and you're finding one thing a day. Your brain will go, "Hey, why don't we do two?" And it might even go three things a day. What do I like? And pretty soon your life will be a little bit happier. And as you gain more happiness, you'll gain more. And what that does, it gives you happiness resilience. In the same way with your business, everything you do for your business, it makes it grow a little bit. You might not see it at first, but it makes it going towards the where you want to go. And that's with everything in life. I would pretty much believe that's what I believe at least. What do you think?
Well, you can only be you. What did Wayne Dyer say? It doesn't matter where you're at. That you're here for a reason. Like everything that you've done has brought you to here. So you just accept
And
that.
that's what I say all the time. I say, no matter where you're at, doesn't matter right now. Every decision you ever made, every decision, that's where you're at now. And we can choose to make different decisions in the front. And what I also do for our happiness is basically saying, you've never really made a mistake. You just learned the things you don't want to do anymore. And then we go back to the two types of mistakes, the things you did and the things you didn't do, and you learn usually more from the things you did. And now they're not even mistakes anymore. This is just learning experience. And as we reframe how we look at the world gets a little bit better. And if you want to look at it all the negative, you're going to find more. You get 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. What are you thinking? So, as we think about that, what are you thinking? Because, and we can go into that because the world's, humans have a bias of negativity because way back then, in our ancestors had to worry about, eaten by a tiger, but that's not the case anymore. And that's not true in a war zone too. You have to worry. So it depends on where you're at in life and what's happening around you, your environment. After that, what are you doing with the making it the best you can? I don't try to teach too much happiness to people in a war zone. I teach them more skills to survive and then go on. Not that they can't be happy at that time, but I want them to focus on what's the most important, how to live till tomorrow and be the best you can be every day. And it's sad that there is war. I'm going everywhere on this, but it still goes back to basically let's be the best us we can be every day, and that's all we got, right?
There you go. Well, that's pretty much going to conclude for today. Guys, thanks for tuning in,
Yeah.
and we'll be here next week.